What will this take the average salary at Goodwood to?
I mean, the average salary will increase by around 16%. I think for those on a grade 2, it will be worth up to 17.6%, and those on a grade 7, it'll be around 14.8. So, the average salary really, if we take a grade 3, the top end of a grade 3, they'll be getting £3,200 just over consolidated on the 1st of January next year. And likewise, they'll then get a lump sum, a non-consolidated lump sum, £2,000. So if we're looking at that wage, I would say on the grade 3, around just over £35,500. So it's a very positive settlement.
Now, you led the negotiations. How would you characterise them?
I would say that they were difficult to start with. I think that certainly from our point of view, we've been running an organising campaign for the past 6 or 7 months on the plant. I think workers have been responding to the message of our General Secretary, Sharon Graham, about the renewed focus on jobs, pay and conditions, the new industrial priorities. So we've had a huge influx to the union from workers that know it was about time that they had a decent pay award. They work for an incredibly profitable company. I think the claim that went in, which was put together in consultation with our members, came in at around an RPI plus pay award. There was obviously some subsidiary elements to the claim around ensuring that apprentices were part of the pay deal for the first time, and likewise that the union would gain oversight on the issuing of agency contracts. So, I think the claim was obviously quite high. I think the negotiations to start with, we had a variety of proposals that we knocked back. We didn't feel that they went anywhere near addressing the mandate that our members had given us. We had 4 days of negotiations, 1 month apart, 2 sets of 2 days. And during that sort of interim period, we were running a consultative ballot for industrial action. So we had 98% of our members voted in favour of strike action on a 74% turnout. So we had a very strong mandate. When we reopened the negotiations, I think the company saw that their workforce was serious about getting their fair reward as they contribute to massive profits. And then we got to a deal where we believe we hit a genuine position that we could agree to recommend it to our membership via a ballot, which was taken to the plant in a referendum, and our members accepted it by 74% on an 84% turnout. So it was a positive result.
So, I mean, how close did it actually come to strike action? I mean, it sounds like obviously the members would have gone that far had it been necessary. It doesn't sound like it really reached that point from what you said.
Well, yeah, I think ultimately, for us, it's important that we ensure that we have a cast iron steer from our members as to where they want to go next, should we not be able to meet their demands. So certainly I think we had everything ready. If the company weren't going to make an improved offer, then we were going to serve notice of a strike ballot. And I've no doubt that our members would have responded with an overwhelming mandate to proceed to strike action if necessary. So I think the company recognised the strength of feeling on the shop floor. I think they recognised the union, its members, were serious about getting a decent pay award this year. But also I think from the company's perspective, they recognise that their workers are in a unique situation at the moment as they're trying to address the cost of living crisis that all workers are facing across the economy. So I think the negotiations were good towards the end. I think we got to a position where we could recommend a deal. And obviously the reps have done a fantastic job in negotiating a deal alongside the union too. So I think for all parties, it was good. Pay's been delivered on time, and it was a good end to the year.
You made an interesting point there about the approach of Rolls-Royce. I mean, obviously Rolls-Royce Motors is owned by BMW of Germany. I mean, unions and employers are often seen as having quite a collaborative relationship in that country. Do you think there's a lesson to be learned here from the approach of Rolls-Royce Motors?
Yeah, I think ultimately we've got obviously there's a number of different plants under the BMW Group banner in this country. You've got the plant Oxford, you've got plant Swindon, you've got Hams Hall, and I think the different plants have different cultures. I think certainly we've spent a long time over the past year negotiating a new recognition agreement that puts the union on a more even footing, especially when in terms of negotiating with the company, because we need to ensure that we're negotiating from a position of strength rather than weakness, and our members have kind of responded to that. So yeah, I think there's probably things that we can learn going forward from both parties. But again, it's a positive outcome. It's a one-year deal, so this time next year we'll be negotiating again. I think we won't know at this moment in time exactly what the economic content or context will be. But we're determined to ensure that our Rolls-Royce members are earning the same as other car or auto workers in the premium end of the sector. So yeah, I think it's positive work. I think the relationship with Rolls-Royce at the moment is good. I think everyone's happy that we've got a pay deal in place. It's going to be paid on time. But again, we'll wait and see where we are around the sort of September point of next year when we submit the next claim.
But do you think other employers could learn from how Rolls-Royce Motors conducted themselves with you in these negotiations?
Yeah, I think that ultimately the negotiations themselves were cordial. There's not much table banging or kind of theatrics of walking out. We're all trying to negotiate a solution. I think a lot of employers at the moment are in a situation where they're adopting very intransigent positions. I think we're seeing that in other sectors of the economy at the moment. However, any dispute can be resolved, but it needs both parties to be prepared to negotiate. And we were fortunate enough to have a set of negotiations where Rolls-Royce could see that we were serious, and likewise we could understand when they said that we're kind of completely maxed out where we can go to. I think both parties recognised that the negotiations were at an end, and then for us as a union, we have to make a recommendation whether people vote to accept or reject that. And I felt that certainly from the negotiations that we'd hit a clear kind of deadlock in the sense that we'd got a full and final offer from the company. And, at that point, it needs to go back before the membership. They need to determine what we do next. And likewise, the reps too. And we felt that we got to a good recommended position on the pay deal that does something to protect our members at this moment in time.